Before we begin this Microsoft Digital event, we would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we live and work throughout Australia, as well as the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people viewing this event today. We pay our respects to elders both past, present and emerging, and recognise and celebrate their continuing connection to land, waters and community. Our reverence also extends to all First Nation and Indigenous peoples, as well as their ancestral lands.
Welcome to this Microsoft Digital event. Before we get started, there's a few things we wanted to point out so you can make the most of this experience. Firstly, the windows you are seeing can be resized. You can maximise, minimise, and drag the windows to the size you prefer. You can also use all the widgets in the bottom middle of your screen. Simply click on the widgets icons to launch them. Secondly, we have specialists on hand to answer your questions in real time. You can type in your question using the Q&A window at any time during the event, and we'll answer them as soon as we can. Lastly, you can access additional resources by clicking on the links in the resources section. We hope you enjoy this Microsoft Digital event. Let's get started.
Hi, I'm Matt Noble. I'm the Business Applications Practice Manager for 8020, an NCS company. I'm from sunny Perth, Western Australia. I'm wearing a black t-shirt. I have blue eyes. And what I'm going to be talking about today is why app modernization is more important now than ever before.
Hi, my name is Bert Wijns. I'm the CEO of Power Accelerate based out of Belgium in Europe. I'm wearing a white shirt and a black sweater. And today I'll be talking about how Microsoft Copilot and Power Accelerate tooling can change the world of Power Platform app modernization.
Hi, I'm Hannah Sahil, and I'm the practice lead for the Microsoft Power Platform at 8020 Solutions within NCS Australia. I am based just outside of Sydney in the Central Coast, and today I'm wearing a blue top. I have brown hair and brown eyes, and my pronouns are she and her. Today, I'd like to talk to you about how you get started on your app modernization journey and tackle your backlog for delivery.
So why modernize? So app modernization isn't this groundbreaking new concept, and it's been around for some time, and the benefits will be quite familiar with those on the call today. Some of which include your increase in your security posture footprints. So legacy technology often doesn't have the appropriate security controls that modern applications do. So migrating to a SaaS or PaaS-based solution can really increase your security posture. You're secondly moving to a more supported platform. So we've all had, shadow IT or those mission critical spreadsheets that no one knows about. Moving to a modern and more supported platform can really uplift your governance and have critical applications that have the appropriate oversight. The third one is quite obvious. So workflow automation. So moving to a modern application, which is a cloud-based service, you get all the benefits of that. So things like automated approvals, automated workflows, all that kind of stuff can really sort of uplift and provide a lot of value for the business. But what we're talking about today is why modernize now. And I think with Microsoft's recent investment in both OpenAI and the Copilot suite of products, I'm seeing app modernization really being at the forefront of really uplifting your technology stack. So without moving to a modern platform, you're not going to get the benefits of obviously leveraging the Copilot and OpenAI suite of tools. So now it's more important than ever to move to those modern platforms. And why? The world is changing. So industries are transforming rapidly. So the days of those sort of long-winded and large-scale transformations are gone. And what we're seeing is that business users want to transform and transform quickly. So having the tools in place to do that, such as low-code and obviously, Copilot and AI and all of those technologies, what they're really allowing you to do is empower new ways of working for the organization. So we're seeing a big shift in market where organizations want tangible outcomes faster and quicker as well. So low code can really complement that when it comes to digital transformation and obviously app modernization as well. When we look at AI and low code, I really see them as the future, and how we're going to solve that sort of backlog and modernization problem. It's by these two technology stacks working together. So When I was preparing for this presentation as well, I found this a really interesting statistic, which why I've included it on this particular slide. So by 2025, what we're going to see is that 10% of all the world's data will be actually generated by generative AI, which I think is an astounding figure. I can imagine that's only going to grow and increase once these AI platforms and technologies get adopted moving forward. To complement that, 65% of all application development activity will actually be developed by low code. So you can kind of see here how the AI revolution is really going to complement the low code movement as well, and really going to fast track your adoption to modern platforms and modern technology. So what tools can we use? So what's interesting is the AI and low code has actually been together for 2019. So it's not an unfamiliar concept for those Power Platform users that may be joining this call today. With the launch of AI Builder, actually introduced the platform in 2019. From there, we've seen sort of recent updates such as natural language programming within Power Apps. In 2022, that technology actually got adopted into Power Automate. And we've seen a seismic shift in the sort of last 6 to 12 months when it comes to more AI-based platforms and technology available in the Power Platform as well, such as Copilot Studio, AI Builder introducing the OpenAI models, Power Automate having Copilot embedded into it, as well as Power Apps having the Copilot Maker experience as well. When we look at what's happened now in 2024, there is a significant reach and a significant available tool set that's available as well. So you've seen my prior slide when there was limited tools, but we could kind of see the journey of where we were going as well. If you take a look at this screen here, there is a significant amount of functionality available. So the ability to have, Copilot for app makers. And what I mean by that is you can type a natural language sentence in and build an application. And I've got an example of that to show you later on. You can actually create an app directly from Excel. So you can import an Excel spreadsheet and actually use the OpenAI technology to actually build out a Power App solution, which is really cool as well. You have that sort of functionality available in Power Automate. So you can have natural language to actually build out a Power Automate based workflow. So you can kind of see how all of this technology can really fast track your app modernization journey, as well as build an intelligent application experience for your end users.
We've all heard the phrase, there is an app for that. Most people wish that there is an app for that to take care of their manual work. And now, with Copilot for Power Apps, everyone can create those apps using natural language. Just describe what you want and we will create it for you in seconds. Let me show you how. The first thing to notice in the Power Apps Maker portal is that I can now describe what I need to build using everyday words. In this case, I need to create a site inspection application, so I'll type build a site inspection details app. The very first thing that I'll need is a place to store my application data. The Maker Copilot for Power Apps knows that, so it quickly comes back with a suggested table design populated with sample data. The table looks good, but it seems that something is missing, and since I am not sure what it is, I will ask my Copilot to give me suggested columns for this table. The columns that I get in response to my ask look good, so I'll go ahead and add them. Looking at the table, I realize that I don't have a location column, which is very important to define a site to be inspected. I'll go ahead and ask a location column to be added and populated with data, and that's all I need to ask my Copilot to make it happen. At this point, what I have looks great, so I'll go ahead and click Create App. In a few seconds, we'll create a fully functional, modern application using the data that we just defined. The app is now ready in the Power App Studio and it looks fantastic because it has been created using our latest and most modern controls. I noticed that there are two screens in the app that the Copilot for Power Apps just created for me, the one that we just saw and the homepage. Looking at the homepage, it seems that it allows our application users to interact with the data using natural language. This is awesome because not only do I have an intelligent Copilot to help me build the application, but I can also give the same GPT-enabled experience to my users. I'll run the application and, as expected, I am presented with a homepage where I can start a conversation. To test it, I will ask what sites were recently inspected, from which I get great response using the data in the application. If at any time I want to use the other screen in the application, I can always get to it with just one click. In the past 2 minutes, we saw how the combination of Power Apps and OpenAI help makers to create applications more efficiently and users to consume those applications more intuitively. All of this in just a few minutes, without writing any code, designing any screen, or reading any document, saving a lot of time and money. faster and more intuitive app building and consumption than ever. This is available for you to try today, so please sign up for our preview.
Awesome. What a great video. And you can kind of see the benefits of the Copilot solution or Copilot technology actually building the application for you, firstly, utilizing natural language. But what I found the really intelligent aspect of that was embedding that Copilot experience directly into the application as well. So instead of navigating to maybe the menu icon or all of that kind of stuff, what we're going to see moving forward is users actually interacting with their Copilot instead to navigate through those applications experience. So again, this intelligent application is really going to start to come to life as we start utilizing, the fantastic technology that is Microsoft Copilot. The next example I have for you here is the ability to actually directly import an Excel spreadsheet. So you can see in my video, we've uploaded a spreadsheet into the Power App or Copilot Studio. And then obviously what we were doing then is it's actually creating a direct Dataverse table and actually creating a front-end application using the Power App's modern control. So you've seen how really simple that is. I've just imported an Excel spreadsheet into that. And what's really cool is I've got my Copilot with me to make changes, as well as when I want to deploy that application, I've got my Copilot ready to go to provide me as my intuitive navigation through my application, query data, provide a lot of insights into what's going on within my particular application stack as well. So really powerful tooling and something that's really effective. And I can see, this concept of intelligent applications that we're talking about today, you can kind of see how we're going on this journey together. And there's a lot of sort of functions and features that are coming as well. The next one is what we can do is actually extend this by OpenAI. So not just having the Copilot experience, Microsoft has obviously the OpenAI investment that's recent as well. So the ability to actually utilize these OpenAI models such as DALL-E, which creates text from images. We've got Whisper, which is automatic speech recognition. I'm assuming a lot of the team members a lot of the viewers on the call today would have heard, would have utilized ChatGPT, which is a conversational chatbot. But again, there's a lot of functions and features that Microsoft have leveraged by various connectors and services via OpenAI that can provide even more functions and features and really provide that intelligent application experience for you as well. Again, it's all native to the platform. So it's really seamless in being able to extend your Power Apps or Power Platform solutions utilizing these great services that are available. The net result is what happens is you're able to deliver projects faster. So instead of having these large scale transformation by years and months, they're sort of taking weeks and stuff like that. So we're seeing a seismic shift when it comes to tackling these app modernization journey. And Hannah and Bert will chat about that later on, using automated tooling, all of that kind of stuff, as well as the native copilots that we've discussed today. What that ultimately ends up in is you're driving a lot of business value as well. So I spoke about in my opening statement that it's now more important than ever. And you can see that by migrating to these modern platforms that you're really going to miss out on, all the cool features that are happening in AI. So my closing statement will be it's now more important than ever to move to these modern platforms so you can ensure that you can keep up with the pace that technology is as well. Now I'm just going to hand over to Bert Vince, who's going to talk about how you can automate your app modernization journey. Over to you, Bert.
Thanks, Matt. That all sounds really interesting. So what I'll be talking about now is how can we use Copilot tooling and functionality as well as our Power Accelerate all of this. So companies have been at this app modernization thing for quite a while. Even before we were founded as a company, we were seeing customers wanting to move legacy Access, Excel, Lotus Notes, and other technologies towards Microsoft platforms. And Power Platform is the perfect platform to land these legacy technologies on. What we were seeing, however, is that a lot of companies who were trying this, they were realizing that it's actually quite expensive. You need to analyze what does this application do. You need to look at the data model, move the data model to a data migration, which is always very complex and challenging. And then you need to recreate application logic. So that's not only the application screens, the forms, the search screens, but also any of the logic, like if I click this button, send an email to that person. And what we're seeing out there is that it was just very expensive to do this. Moving one app would take quite a bit of effort, and there would be quite a bit of cost towards this as well. So a lot of customers are delaying making this migration happen. So how can we actually do that better? And the next slide I have here is around what are the typical application migration targets for Power Platform. If you have 1,000 apps, you're not just going to move all of those 1,000 apps. You're probably going to start with doing a bit of analysis. What do these apps do? And from that, you get a view on how complex are there, how much code is there, what kind of data model and what kind of data is there. And from there, you can see and actually look at 4 angles. One is any app which is no longer in use and no longer needed, you can actually decommission. You could take a copy of the data, so you still have it, but really you can remove that, so you don't need that anymore. On the other end, we have archiving. And archiving used to be like, okay, let's take an app and extract it to a common data source. But now with Copilot Studio, you could actually archive, take the data out of a legacy application, and then move that data into Dataverse and then run Copilot Studio on there. So you can actually speak with a chatbot with your legacy data. And you don't need the user interface anymore because you can just use that data and speak with it. Low complexity and medium complexity apps which have limited functionality and data. I mean, Matt talked about a lot of these Microsoft Copilot features, which you can use. You can extract the data set, you can use Excel, create a data model really quickly, and then create an app around it, just using natural language and speaking with the Copilot functionalities. And then for this medium and more complex app, which have a lot of logic, there's data and business data, that's where Power Accelerate is actually having its sweet spot, where you can really do an end-to-end analysis. What does this application do? Extract all of the KPIs, how many tables are there, reports, queries, and then we can move the data model in an automated way, allow you to do data modeling, data transformations. And then also we have just released the Copilot functionality where you can move logic, where you can analyze, for example, a Microsoft Access VBA script. And then you can ask our Copilot, like, what does this do? And then also, how would I move this if I would move it to a Power Platform? So we can really help accelerate that entire journey. So with the Microsoft Copilot, which Matt just highlighted, that are actually very powerful, and they're getting better every day. I mean, here I have a slide on the Copilot in Power Automate, where you can quickly ask it to create an automated flow to automate an action. Just remember the days when in Excel or in Microsoft Access, you were writing a 500-line VBA script to take some data and send an email around it. Well, now you can just write a sentence in Copilot there, and it will generate that flow for you. Also on the data model and on the app side, here we have the Maker Copilot and also the functionality there around Dataverse, which is really all accelerating this, and where there would be a lot of manual activities in the past, and now this Microsoft Copilot does that all for you. Let me also talk a little bit about Power Accelerate. So we have a toolset which helps you with intelligent assessment, discovery, and extraction. We help you with 6 sources, but also sources which can be extracted of this. So that's Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Access, SQL Server, InfoPath migration, Mendix, and Lotus Notes. And we really start with doing an assessment. What is here? What have we found? And then how complex would it be to move this, and how much of this can we automate? We extract the data model, we extract the data, allow you to do data modeling, data transformations. And we even have common data model matching. Like if you have 10 apps and they all have person or contact data, you could potentially want to move that to one central table rather than 10 new tables in the target. Then from there, we can also help you with that automated generation. So we'll take that data model, move it to the Microsoft platform. We'll migrate your data, and then we'll generate application components, both on the model-driven app side and the Canvas app side based on templates. And we even help you with the security model generation, really automating a lot of those tasks, which would be a lot of effort, and reducing that effort of app migration by 60 to 80%, where you usually would have a high cost to migrate these apps. Now we can actually help automate a lot of this. And finally, we just launched our Copilot product, where you can also tackle the logic. This can be things like Lotus scripts, Microsoft VBA code, and really help analyze that. Like, what does this script do? Like a script, maybe let's take a VBA script in Excel, which has 1,000 lines of VBA code. Just paste it in there, and it will tell you in 30 seconds, like, what does the script do? And then you can ask it, like, how would I move it? And it will help guide you as well, how to move it, and also automate the logic side of things. So let me show you do this in real life. And I'll do an end-to-end demo here, where we take the Microsoft Northwind database in Access, analyze it, extract all of the KPIs with data modeling, data transformations, and then automatically move this, the data model and the data migration, to Dataverse, and then also showcase our Copilot product. So let me show you a quick demo today of moving the Access database. We all know the Northwind database. So Northwind is a bit of a ERP system where you have customer data, order detailed data, invoices. You can look at the details of this customer. It's quite a complex database, and it has, I think, like 20 tables. And what we do as Power Accelerate, the first step is we can do a full end-to-end assessment of this, where we extract all of the metadata from this Access database. And so what you will have here is an overview of which tables are there, how many records do they have, how many fields do they have, are there relationships. You can look at the queries as well. Which queries are there in this database? What's the actual query behind the database? How complex is it? Is it a relational query or not? Then what's really powerful as well is we extract all of the logic, so all of the VBA code from this Access database, from either form logic or classes inside the Access database with the lines of code. So that's very powerful, and we'll see later on when we look at our Copilot feature, that you can take this logic and do an automated analysis on it. We extract macros, as well reports with how many controls are on there and the data source, and then the forms and the form detail. Also, you can get a view on how complex these forms are. Once we've done the assessment, what we're going to want to do is upload the actual Access database into our Power Accelerate solution. And the first tip we will give you is to select your tables which you actually need. So back in the days when we have Access databases, we didn't really have database backups or table backups. So what happened is people would create copies of tables and copies of tables. So you can just select the tables you want. I mean, to go fast here, I'll just keep all of the tables. And then what happens is we load the data model and the data inside this Power Accelerate solution, where you get a full overview of what we've detected. Like here you can see all the tables on the left with how many records they have. You can see for the customer table, which we've selected, what the actual fields are, which we found with their field types, their max length. So all of the structured data model we have in MS Access, we will extract automatically and do a mapping to the Power Platform field types. Now you can jump to a different table, like if I would have a look at my orders table now, I can see there's different things here. There's relational data, links to other tables, and the idea really here is that you can truly review the data model. Which tables do I need? What data do I need? Do I need to change certain data types? And also we have a modified data step on top of there where you can also do data transformations. What we sometimes see with this older MS Access databases and our other sources as well is that you have a bit of dirty data out there. And when you're doing one of these transformation and migration exercises, it's really important that you actually migrate that data in the right format. So you make it a relational data model, you clean up the data, and you really spend some time also in to see like how are you gonna map that data and create a data model in the target. So we also support that step with our solution. Let's now generate this, and I'm not gonna make you watch the generation because that would take about 15 minutes. So I have a completed example here. What we have here is a completed model-driven app where we have a customer record, and in that customer record you can see the related orders to the customer, very similar to what you saw in the Access database, fully auto-generated. So we auto-generated the data model, tables, fields, field types, and then we did a multi-step data migration of that data model, which we reviewed as well, fully automating a lot of the manual development work, which usually would have to happen. You can also open up another record here, like the order, and you can see the order record with the related data like the shipper, the status, the employee who worked on it. So you get that very similar view like what you had in MS Access in a model-driven app. The next thing we can do is we can generate a Canvas app as a starting point as well, based on your own template. So here we have our Power Accelerate UX design template with our gray and white colors and our logo. Basically what we can do is we can take your UX design, make that available in our solution, and then when we generate these apps, it will be based on that template. And for every table, we will generate a create, read, update, and delete screen. And it's a working app by default. Like I can open up this customer screen, I can look for accent, and then open up that record where we see the actual details of that customer here as well. I could create a new order record as well if I want. The final thing I'll show you is our latest functionality, which is our Copilot functionality. So if I click here on the top right to launch our Copilot, And I will go to my, I answered a couple of questions and I go to my Excel sheet where we have the extracted VBA code. I can take that VBA code of the logic of this for mortar detail script. I paste that in there and it will give me an analysis or an assessment of what this actual script does. Like in this case, it's changing some of the logic around the default shipping address, deleting an order, clearing the order, and it's giving a couple of initial hints like how you could do that in the target as well. But we can take this even further, and through the logic, it asks us like what else we want to do. We can ask us like, well, could you actually generate me an example script potentially of how we can create this exact same VBA script inside the Power Platform. And in our case, we want to see like, can it really draft an example script here? Which it can. So let's wait for it to respond. And here we get a full-blown example script of what this actually could look like. Being really powerful, because even if you're not a skilled Power Apps developer, you have this starting point where you can start from. So overall, that is what we do. We start from an assessment of what does this database do. We extract all of the metadata in that Excel sheet where you get a view of how complex is this. You can upload the Access database, you can do data modeling, data transformations, and then we do a fully automated generation of the data model, the data, application components for model-driven apps, Canvas apps, and then we can also help you with our Copilot functionality to move some of the logic between 70 and 90% of the work of a migration to the Power Platform.
That was a really cool demo, right? So I think what I want to leave you with is that we can really accelerate this entire app migration workload with the Microsoft Copilot functionality, but also with our Power Accelerate solution. And really, the time to migrate these apps is now, because what you can see now is that we have a lot of automation around this app migration, which brings the cost and the effort of this workload down by a lot. And this will only accelerate. I mean, in 6 months from now, it might even automate a lot more. So the time to look at this and pick this up again is right now. Okay, so that was my part talking about how the tooling can help you accelerate the Power Platform app modernization play. So now I'm going to hand over to Hannah, which is going to really talk about the execution of this and how this really works in reality through execution.
Thanks, Bert. It's amazing the tooling and accelerators available now to enable application modernization. In my role, I work with various organizations across industries to unlock business value and benefits through the adoption of the Power Platform. And one way in which our clients are looking to leverage the Power Platform is by enabling app modernization. As you heard from Matt and Bert, lots of organizations now are looking to modernize their technology footprint. They want to embrace digital transformation and implement new solutions in a way that is simple, it's easy to maintain, and also gives them the flexibility to grow and scale as their business and their needs evolve. And with the Power Platform, you as an organization benefit with Microsoft's extensive investment into simplifying the application development lifecycle, enabling rapid automation, and also having a central store of data, which is then overlaid with leading edge AI capabilities, giving you a platform that makes modernization more accessible than ever. And so the way you get started is with this concept of a modernization factory that I'll take you through today. So your first step in your delivery is to define your backlog. And what you want to do is ensure that you're doing this at speed. We don't want to get caught in a lengthy discovery phase where you're sort of doing discovery months at a time. You want to be able to engage with your business stakeholders, capture what your opportunities are across the organization, understand what are the current platforms that are sort of more legacy or coming out of support, and come up with a backlog that you can start to tackle. As part of that, you also want to be able to do some classification. And so we use the concept of t-shirt sizing to be able to look at your backlog and relatively define some sizing from extra small to large. And to enable that, you want to capture some parameters such as the number of tables that might exist in your current solution, the number of forms and screens associated to the application, whether there are different user journeys or experience. And so that will allow you to understand what the complexity variables might be between the applications and classify them appropriately. Once your t-shirt sizing is in place, it takes you to the next step where you can start to do rapid estimation. And the way you do this is through delivery patterns. What I mean by that is for each t-shirt size, you then come up with a resource model that targets that particular classification, as well as some estimated durations around how much time it might take to deliver it. So in the example of something that's extra small, only has maybe a single table and a single screen, you might only need a resource or a consultant for 3 to 5 days and be able to turn that around really quickly, versus something that is more complex, potentially has integrations with other source systems, and will require a little bit more stakeholder engagement. And so you'll need a longer time period and more resourcing. And so you'll have those delivery patterns in place so you can understand what your backlog in its entirety looks like. You can prioritize it, and then you can start to action that backlog as well. When you come to delivering your applications onto a modern platform, you want to be able to do it in a way that there is continuous delivery, there's continuous value being unlocked for the business. And so a model that is worked well for us is using a Scrum-based Agile model. It's a model that's been used, tried and tested over various decades, and so it has proven benefits to work in this way. And the way you would leverage it is, you've defined your product backlog in the last step, you have your estimation in place, and you start to deliver things in sprint cycles. So you'll have 2-week sprints where you're pulling items from the backlog. And the way you want to do it is you want to start small, pick those extra small t-shirt sizes, start to get some runs on the board, and deliver value in what we call a snowball fashion, where you start to deliver momentum and you accumulate all of the value as your use cases are delivered and launched into production. The other thing that using a Scrum-based model allows you to do is ensure that you aren't introducing risk while operating at speed. So the goal is to get things out to the business as soon as possible, but you want to do it safely and securely. And so having a framework where you have sprint planning to ensure everybody is aligned on goals, you have your stand-ups to check in and ensure progress is being made, and you also have your retrospectives where not only are you looking at your ways of working, but you're also reflecting on how the modernization of certain use cases went within the last sprint. So you can take those learnings and become more and more efficient in your delivery of those applications. And the way you would utilize the tooling that is available that both Matt and Bert talked about is, as a use case is coming into the sprint and it's the first time you're picking it up, you leverage your Power Accelerate tools to be able to bring the underlying data set into the new platform. And then in the next sprint cycle, you would look at what is the application journey that you need to take, build out the application view and the user experience, leveraging the Power Platform and the Copilot that are available. The other thing I would call out is that by utilizing this model, not only do you get your applications to a modern stack, it also gives you the continuous improvement and maintenance loop so that you don't have to undertake a similar exercise come 5 years into the future. So you don't want to just modernize your application. You want to continue to maintain it and support it for the business. And so this delivery model then becomes a pattern for ongoing management of all of your applications. Now, if you're listening to this and you're comfortable with sort of the delivery approach and you understand what you need to do to get started, but you're thinking, I don't have the resources, we don't have the capacity, or the tech is too new, we're not sure how we're going to be able to deliver it, then there are options that you can undertake. One of them is leveraging the expertise of a partner through Fusion Teams. And what happens in this instance is you work with a Microsoft partner for them to come in and establish your delivery foundations. So there will be a squad model that is recommended for you that's fit for purpose to your backlog. The roles are defined around how you make your delivery approach a success. And once those foundations are in place, we start to embed more of your internal team into that squad. And what that allows you to do is uplift the skills of your internal team by having hands-on experience working in the delivery team and also leveraging the experience of the experts that are part of the team from your partner. And as that continues to grow and mature, you reach Horizon 3, where you'll see your team is now fully self-sufficient. You can run your application modernization and maintenance independently, and you may only leverage a partner where you have very bespoke, complex use cases or are just looking to augment the team further. The other way in which you can ensure that application modernization continues at speed is to embrace rapid development. And both Matt and Bert spoke about this. You have the capabilities of Copilot within the Power Platform, and so you can start to build those apps using Copilot where you have capacity and making the most of the time that you do have. And what we have found is that where makers are using Copilot, the application build is twice as fast as opposed to when Copilot is not leveraged. The other thing to note is when you are modernizing applications, not every application that exists today will require an application in the future. You may look to leverage different user experience, including interactive copilots, which give you that more conversational experience. And an example of that would be, let's say you have an expense claim application. At the moment, it's a form that needs to sort of connect into a backend and approvals need to be automated. You might convert that into a Copilot where someone can just prompt Copilot to say, I need to lodge an expense. And Copilot then does the heavy lifting of asking the right questions, gathering that data, ensuring approvals are met, and then the claim is reimbursed to you. And another stat I'd like to share is that where copilots are used for app development and for some of your user experiences, the success rate is 60% higher than when it's not utilized. So there's definitely a lot of value in embracing rapid development and getting started. The last piece I'm going to touch on is ensuring that we're also embedding governance into the process. And so if you are leveraging the Power Platform, it is beneficial to install the Center of Excellence Toolkit so that you can get insights of the inventory as it is being moved across into the new environments onto the platform, and you have visibility around what environments they sit in and who has access. You also need to consider and understand what your target state environment architecture is as well. So when you are moving applications across, particularly those that might be business critical and enterprise grade, you want to ensure that they're in the right environment stacks. And you don't have to come back in a couple of years and now do a Power Platform remediation exercise because environment architecture was left on the back burner. As you're implementing your environment architecture, also consider your data loss prevention policies so that you know you're modernizing securely. And what the data prevention policies provide is the ability to lock down your environment so that people can still access the things they need, but they aren't going in there and building apps with connectors that you don't want them to have access to. So it is protecting your source systems as well. That's everything that I had to cover on the migration factory. To close the session and summarize sort of everything that's been covered today, I hope you've been able to understand the value of app modernization. It really does allow you to mitigate against the security gaps that might exist within your legacy technology. It does enable those more modern user experiences. So it's not just about the technology, but actually uplifting user experience, as well as enabling process automation. And it also gives you the appropriate oversight for your critical applications. You have the ability now to leverage automation and accelerate your modernizations through tooling like Power Accelerate, where the heavy lifting on the data migration is automated. And this for you reduces then the cost and effort involved in modernization, removing some of the key barriers that exist currently in modernization. And finally, you can deliver this through a modernization factory where you define your backlog at speed, classify your applications, and complete rapid estimation, enable your delivery through Fusion teams and uplift your capabilities, and then leverage the tools, the Power Platform, and the Copilot capabilities to continue to deliver value to your business through app modernization. Thank you for your time today. I hope you found this session valuable. There are lots of different bootcamp sessions to attend, and the moderator will share the link now. So go ahead and register to those, and good luck with your app modernization journey.
We hope you enjoyed this digital event. We have specialists on standby to answer your questions for a short while. To ask a question, type it into the chat window now, and we'll get to it as quickly as we can. You'll also find a resources widget in the bottom middle of your screen. We've put additional links in there to learn more about what we've covered today. Lastly, tell us how you found this experience through the survey widget. If you're not staying for the Q&A, thank you for attending, and we hope to see you again soon. We hope you enjoyed this digital event. Thank you for attending, and we hope to see you again soon.